Hi, second grade. Welcome to the reteach of Module 6. So you took your test on Tuesday and we looked at the data on Wednesday. And today we are going to talk about some of the things that went well and some of the things that we still need some work on. So first of all, the average score is 75%. So great job. We look for a 70% average normally, so we're a little bit above the average, which means that you guys overall, you're passing, doing the things that you need to do. The questions we want to look at today, though, you can look down here. Question 1, this red part means that several students got the question wrong. And then on question 2, you can see that it's pretty split evenly between green and yellow, which means that you got about half of the question right. So we'll go ahead and we will look through those problems and do a little bit of a reteach and give you a chance to practice. So looking at our error analysis of question 1, the question said, D shades an array with 5 columns of 4 squares. Which array does D shade? So the most common wrong answer was array C. Most people who got the question wrong chose C. Now we wanted the array that showed 5 columns of 4 squares. So remember that columns go up and down, rows go side to side. So they're looking for up and down, and there should be 5 columns. So let's count. Here's 1 up and down, 2 up and down, 3 up and down, 4 up and down. Scholars, are there 5 columns in this array? No, there are not. There are only 4. So this answer cannot be correct. Again, we're looking for 5 columns with 4 squares in each column. So we want to look at the arrays that show us 5 columns. So array A, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, so that can't be included. Array B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a possibility. We've already ruled out C. We know that's not correct. But then we have D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So arrays B and D do have 5 columns. But what we're looking for is in each column for there to be 4 squares. So now we have to look at each column and count up the number of squares. So look at array B and look at array D. Which array has 4 squares in each column? Is it B or D? Let's go ahead and count them. In array B, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 in each column. But in array D, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So which one is our correct answer? Which one shows 5 columns with 4 squares in each array? Right, it's array B. So you have to be really, really careful about a couple of things. Number 1, you're looking closely at what the question is asking. 5 columns of 4 squares. Remembering columns go up and down. 2 of them had 5 columns, so you had to be really careful and count how many squares in each column. That's why we always say, as mathematicians, we go slowly and we always double check our work. So the correct answer for number 1 is array B. Okay? The error analysis for question 2, there was a question for us about a rectangle that Juan created, and he added a partition. Okay, that's this dotted line here. He decided that array was pretty big, and he was going to split it into 2 smaller parts so that he could figure out how many tiles are in this array. So you could, figure out the entire array Or, like we do with number bonds, you can split it into two smaller parts, and that's what Juan did here. So the original array, the whole square of squares, is 5 columns of 5. We have 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns, 5 columns. And in each column, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. But looking at this dotted line, our partition, Juan has split the rectangle into this part and this part. So the first part is done for us. It is 2 columns of 5. So here's 1 column and 2 columns, and in each column there are 5 squares, right? That part, do you see it? That is 2 columns of 5. That's been done for us. What we need to look at now is the other side of the array, this part, okay? How many columns are in this part? Remember, columns go up and down. I want you to say your answer out loud. How many columns? Right, there are 3 columns going up and down. 1, 2, 3. How many squares are in each column? This one should be easy. There are 5 because we know that in the array it's repeated addition. So if there are 5 squares in this column, there have to be 5 squares in these columns, right? The size doesn't really change, okay? The number of columns is the only thing that changed. So now we have split the array into 2 parts. We have 2 columns of 5 and we have 3 columns of 5. Down here at the bottom, they want us to look at the repeated addition. So with 2 columns of 5, okay, with 2 columns of 5, looking over here, what are we repeating? How many squares are in each column? 5. There are 5 squares in each column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 plus 5. And what does that equal? 10. Exactly. Okay? So that is for this smaller part of the array. So in 2 columns of 5, you have 5 2 times. Over on this side, we have 3 columns of 5. 3 columns of 5. So what is the repeated addition going to look like for the other side of the array? Look at how many square tiles are in each column. How many little squares are in each column? Exactly. There are 5 again. So 5 in the first column, 5 in the second column, 5 in the third column. You can skip count to get your answer. 5, 10, 15. Okay? Now, if we wanted to, we could add up 10 and 15 to find out how many squares are in this array total, or we could skip count. The first column is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And we know that 10 plus 15 is 25. So what Juan did is he simply split this array into 2 smaller parts so that he could figure out the total. Just like when we have the total and the part with the number bond. Okay. One more and then we will be done. I'm just going to move myself over here. When we're talking about repeated addition, in a repeated addition equation, the addends are the same number. So if you look at this array here, okay, there are 3 columns going up and down. There are 3 rows going side to side. Whether you're looking at a row or a column, there are 3 squares in each row and 3 squares in each column. So if we're making a repeated addition equation, 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9. It has to be the same number. When you are doing repeated addition, you are adding the same number together. Even though 2 plus 3 plus 4 does equal 9, that is not a correct answer because it's not repeated addition. You are not repeating the same number. Repeated addition, you are repeating the same number. That's why we use it for arrays, because when we're looking at columns, we're repeating the same number for each column. 3 in this column, 3 in this column, 3 in this column, okay? The number of squares in each column or in each row, it's not going to change. It's going to be the same. That's why it makes this really nice square or rectangle, because it's got the same number of squares in each column. So let's look at a practice. What repeated addition equation matches this array? Okay, so we're looking over here. We're just going to go down the row, A, B, C, D, to figure it out. This one says 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9. So we could be talking about rows or columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it can't be the columns because there's 4 in a column. Maybe rows? Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Oh, that looks good. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh no. There are 3 squares in each row, but how many rows are there? How many going side to side? Yeah, there are 4 rows. This only represents 3 rows. So that cannot be the correct answer. Let's move on to B. 4 plus 4 plus 8 equals 12. I hope in your head you're saying, that's not a repeated addition equation. That can't be correct. Repeated addition is when you add the same number together each time. Is 8 the same as 4? No, it is not. So that number cannot be correct. So let's move on to C. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 16. Okay, well, I remember before that there were 4 squares in each column. So let's see how many columns there are. 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh. How many columns are there? 3. This array looks like it's for 4 columns. So that also can't be right. So letter D should be correct. 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 12. Okay, we're looking at those columns again, and it looks like 4 3 times. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4 in the first column. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the second column. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the third column. That fits. Now it says 12 is the total. So I could skip count, or I could count the tiles one by one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So does letter D fit? Yeah, you bet it does. When you are looking to match a repeated addition equation to an array, you have to make sure of a couple of things. When you're doing repeated addition, the number that you're adding together is going to be the same. You cannot have other numbers in a repeated addition equation. This is not a repeated addition equation. Repeating means you're doing the same thing over and over. Okay? The other thing you want to make sure of is, does it match the number of rows or columns? And then, is the answer correct? Okay? So second grade, when you are looking at your Reteach assignment today, you should see practice problems just like what we went through. Do your very best. If you need to go back and watch the video for extra support, you can absolutely do that. But again, great job overall on this test. You guys are definitely improving, and we are all really proud of how you did. Bye-bye.